Hey guys, welcome back. I've got what I consider a treat for you in this video. We are just standing outside of my base here, and I've come up with a system that I haven't quite seen yet on YouTube, aside from the Pearl stasis chamber. It does take that machine and combine it with a calibrated skulk sensor to sort of get me around my base a lot faster. Because my base is, at the top here on the surface level, and then it also drops all the way down to the bottom of the map here. So I will give you a quick example of how this machine works that I've designed and built for you today, and then I will get into showing you how to make it. All right, so let's say I'm at my farms here. I've got some farms, and one of the things, let's say I was working on something and like maybe I needed a piece from my bottom base because that's where I keep all my storage supplies. So I could go through my base, but there's a lot of like mechanisms in my base that require things to get me in and out of it. So the fastest way that I now have is just to simply come stand in my Ender Pearl stasis chamber room up top and then eat food. Doesn't matter if it's cooked beef or not. We'll wait just a few seconds. And then we are all the way down here at the bottom with another Ender Pearl stasis chamber. So I will go ahead and reset this, because we need to reset it every single time. And then I'll just come out here and grab whatever I might need. Let's say I needed some iron. I just grab a stack of iron, and then I can head back up to the top. So what I'd want to do is come stand next to the bottom layer pearl stasis chamber, and then equip some gear. Wait a couple of seconds. And then boom, I am back up at the top, and then I will just reset the Ender Pearl there every time. Okay, there we go. And then I can go back to doing whatever it was that I was doing. So I will go ahead and show you how to make this design, give you sort of the basic rules for it. If you don't care to build it, then I appreciate you coming by. Thanks. All right, guys, let's get straight into it. This one's going to be kind of a doozy. So I've got a couple of things already built out here for you. This first one is a waterlogged version of the entire setup. So if you were to trigger it, you would only hear the ding of the amethyst block. You would not actually hear the skulk sensor inside doing its thing. This is a non-waterlogged version of it. Um, as you can see, it's not super long as far as the machines go, but it is kind of material heavy to get these things. Um, then these right here kind of show you how far in between each skulk sensor the signal can travel. And so from this skulk sensor to this skulk sensor is 17 blocks away, and that is the maximum number of blocks that the signal will travel. What we can do here is come to our chest. So to actually build the machine, you will only need a lectern, book and quill, up to 2 comparators, calibrated skulk sensor, and then a block of amethyst. And then that will basically be your build. You will need a method of teleporting around. So Ender Pearl is the only way in Bedrock to do so. And then we will just use a chest for putting some Ender Pearls into the chest after the machine is completely built. And then we're going to use cooked beef again as the method of choice for triggering the skulk sensors. And then the way back will be triggered using just putting on armor. Uh, you will need soul sand. Actually, only one block of that. You'll need one honey block. You'll need one trap door, and you'll need a bucket of water to actually make the ender pearl stasis chamber. And then just in case, we've got 15 redstone dust, one target block, and one redstone repeater. You may not actually need these, but you will definitely need some redstone dust. And depending on how you build your pearl stasis chamber, you may need the target block to actually trigger the trapdoor. So let's just come over here to make a little quick build of it. And so we'll start with lectern. You're going to need a book and quill, right? And you want to set that to 30 pages. I've already done this one, so you want to go to 30 pages on a brand new book, and then you want to put something on the last page so that it saves how many pages are in the book. I like to just put the signal strength of each page, and so this one's 15 and all the way down to 1. And so once you have that, you're just going to place it on the lectern there, and then you're going to go ahead and set it to whichever signal strength you want to trigger your teleportation. Mine's going to be 8 because that's what's required for the food. Then we want to take a comparator, and then as you'll see, it's already got power coming out of it by these two lights switching on. And then we'll take a calibrated skulk sensor, make sure that the purple section there is lined up with the comparator. If it's in any other of these 3 locations, this will not work. This is the only input for the calibrated skulk sensor. And then in order to send the signal anywhere, up to 17 blocks, you have to have this block of amethyst here. It's the only block in the game that they gave a new purpose for resonating vibration frequencies. And so if I go ahead and just grab some food, because as you can see, it's not doing anything currently, but if I were to eat food, you can see that it does trigger that. You hear the skulk sensor and you hear the block of amethyst. See, so we know that that right there is working, and that is fantastic. That is the first part of our setup. Now what we want to do is go ahead and build the first uh, ender pearl stasis chamber. So we'll need ender pearl, we'll need water bucket, trap door, honey block, and soul sand. It's a fairly simple build. You will need to choose where you want to put it. It can be fairly close, but I wouldn't build it too far away. Um, but I mean, you could go as far as you want, as long as you do have redstone repeaters. It will carry the signal as far as it needs to go. But we're going to build it relatively close here, and what you want to start with is building 1 block down, 2 blocks down. Place your soul sand there. Place a water bucket on top of the soul sand, and as long as you've got these water bubbles coming up, you are in good shape. And so next thing we want to do is take any block so that we can place a trap door down. And so we'll just set it here for now and see how it likes to line itself up. And so it wants to line up this way. So what we're going to do is take a honey block on the opposing side of how it opens and closes. Okay. And then we're going to place an ender pearl on this honey block right on the edge. So I'm not actually all the way off, right? And I'm holding my crouch button so that I don't fall off the block. But you don't have to go all the way to the edge like that. But what you want to do is kind of line up in the middle. As you can see, it kind of goes from dark to light to dark to light, dark right here in the center. And the center piece is right kind of where you want to throw it. Like on the faded part, not so much on the solid part. So right on the faded, right in the center, and then just drop one in there. And that should get it stuck in there like that, and you've got yourself a little stasis chamber. So the next thing that we want to do is connect the 2 machines. And so we're going to use a redstone comparator to do so with redstone dust. And we know that because my signal strength in the book is 8, that when I lay a comparator down here and it sends a signal out, it's going to go up to 8 long. So I can just connect it as long as it's 8 or less, and if not, I will have to add a redstone repeater. And something to keep in mind is that you can't go like this and run it across your trapdoor. It will not trigger the trapdoor. It needs to go into the trapdoor like so. Or if you do want to have it run directly across, you can use that target block and place it there. So we'll do 1 here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and if I were to go 7, 8, that wouldn't be enough, right? Because it would be 9 to actually connect it, and I would have to actually do it like that. But that would be 9. And so what I'll end up doing is just leaving it like this, and then I will use the target block like so. And then all we have to do is test the machine using our method of choice for triggering it, which is going to be food in this case. And what should happen is we'll eat it, it'll light up the redstone, and then we'll get teleported just like so. So every time that you get teleported, you will need to reset the ender pearl. So this machine works best if you do have an ender farm so that you can have many, many, many of these pearls. Because first off, first time setting up the honey block with the ender pearl on the edge like that, it can be a little bit frustrating and sometimes difficult to get it to line up correctly. But just keep at it, and eventually you should find the sweet spot on there. So that's pretty much the machine for teleporting. In order to get us to go multiple blocks, you just need to set up this machine minus the comparator that leads to the redstone that leads to the stasis chamber. Just these 4 pieces right here. This is what you'll need, and then you'll just, I've already got it kind of set up over here, as you can see. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's technically doesn't need to be there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you just want to go up to. I like to keep it at 15 just to not cause chaos. So I've got 15 blocks max right here, but you can go up to 17 on this, and it's any direction. So you go. We just build up and up. If you need to go up, you can build down. If you need to go down, you can build east, west, north, or south, any direction that you like. And then once you get to the final place, you will want to build a new stasis chamber so that you can teleport back and forth between the top and the bottom. Same setup, lectern, book and quill, comparator, skulk sensor that's calibrated with an amethyst block on it to receive and send the signal. Then you've got the comparator coming out of the skulk sensor leading into redstone dust. And then since this book is actually set to 5, because that's the required vibration number for putting gear on and off. And so it wouldn't be enough to get all the way to that trapdoor, so I just set up a little redstone repeater right here and then triggered it into the trapdoor. So that's pretty much it. I do like to have a chest set up nearby with ender pearls in it in case you do run out on your person. You'll have some spares nearby. But just to show you that this does work, what you will need to do on every single one of these, that you've got one going up, you can literally just place the other one going the other direction. And then as you can see, this book is set to 5. This book is set to 8. So it's both machines side by side, all the way up, all the way down. Same thing, 5 and 8. Come to this one, 8, 5, and so on. It just goes all the way down. And so if we're all the way down here, we'll just we'll put the gear on first. Boom, all the way to the top. Okay, once we're up here, we're going to reset the ender pearl. And then once I grab whatever it was that I needed from this teleportation location, I will just eat my food. Boom, all the way back down. And then again, once I'm finished with this one, like once it's been used, I'm going to reset the ender pearl every single time. So that's it. That's my design. That's my machine with an ender pearl stasis chamber. So again, you can have a non-waterlogged version, but if you want to make a waterlogged version so you don't have to hear the skulk sensor, you will need to build it like this, and inside of there is just water. But you will, since the amethyst has to be touching the skulk sensor, it'll have to go right on top of it there, like so. Otherwise, it won't resonate that vibration across. But again, this can go as far as you want. You do have to have a loaded chunk. If you build this, if you build one of your teleportation machines and a chunk that is not going to be loaded all the time, then this is not going to work. It has to be a loaded chunk, which is why, as of right now, I've just got it in my base at the top and the bottom, and you can use up to 15 different signals to make this trigger. However, I do not recommend using the first one or the second one or two signal strength, because one is just walking around, and even hostile mobs, non-hostile mobs, they will all interfere with those signals specifically. Um, Sometimes you will catch cows or something, sheep, something like that. They'll be eating the grass on the ground, and if they are near one of your machines that is set to the 8 frequency, it will actually trigger it for you. So you may get pulled accidentally when you don't want to, which is why I've set up the ground here within a 17 block radius around the machine, so that they can't just come in and eat the grass and then teleport me without me wanting to be teleported. So aside from that, if you happen to log off the game or leave this specific dimension, such as going into the Nether and then coming back into the overworld from the Nether, you will not be able to teleport yourself. You will have to actually reset the Ender Pearls every single time that you log in. That's basically the only real rules to this is make sure that you're using frequencies that aren't likely to be interfered with. If you need a list of frequencies, Mojang has some patch notes out for 1.20, and you can just sort of look through that, and under the vibration frequencies is where you will find that information. And again, they are numbered 1 through 15. And then the other thing to keep in mind is when you're building this is it will only work in chunks that are always loaded or that are loaded at the time. So if you happen to build one 200 blocks away, you will need to probably increase your chunk render distance. You can do that by going to settings, scroll down to your video section, and then on the right side scroll down to rendered distance. 5 is what I like to keep mine set at, and then that's a 16 by 16 square is what one chunk is. So you're getting quite a few blocks away using just 5 chunks, but you can increase this. Just keep in mind that if you do increase your render distance, it is going to bog down the performance of your machine, your PC. So just keep that in mind as you're building these things and trying this stuff out. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like and comment for me. Let me know what you think about it. And then also don't forget to subscribe if you're new, because there will definitely be future content. And again, this stuff is for Bedrock version of the game 1.20 plus. Thanks. Have a good day.